Kill Knight. Jump down the murder hole and kill the last angel. There you go, that's the story for Kill Knight. This is a highly demanding isometric arcade shooter, demanding in your skill, reflexes, and your ability to keep track of what's going on in the complete mess your screen turns into. The game pushed me to my limit, almost to the point of quitting. I lowered the difficulty to the lowest difficulty. Felt shame, but it was still one of the hardest gaming experiences I've had. But I never wanted to quit the game. I'd always do one more run, and if I did close the game, I would be opening it up again 5 minutes later, because the game is satisfying. I wouldn't describe it as fun. It is fun, but that's not why I keep playing it. It's the satisfaction and catharsis of overcoming something really challenging, and improving your skills and becoming better. Skill expression. That's the only way you beat the levels, by becoming better. Okay Brian, that's cool and all, but what can I actually do? How does the game work and what's the progression? Well, glad you asked. You can relax your zoomer progression treadmill mindset because there is some progression. But first, gameplay mechanics. It's a lot. You can dash to avoid damage. This has a cooldown, so you have to be picky about using this get out of jail free card. You have your pistols, your main weapon with a limitless supply of ammo. When you have to reload, you get a little bar, and you have to hit a button when the indicator is on the white thing. Depending on the button, 3 things can happen. If you hit the pistol button, then your pistols just do more damage for a limited time. Hit the sword button and you do a strong melee attack. Hit the button to suck up blood gems, and you suck up all the blood gems in the level. This is called active trigger. It's a reflex and timing skill check. Swords. Killing an enemy with a sword is the only way you can get heavy ammo, and it also charges up your sword charge, which is basically an ultimate move. It's a high risk, high reward weapon, where if you use it the wrong way, then you've put yourself in danger. Which I did a lot on keyboard and mouse, because where the sword strikes is based on your movement, not your aim. So if I aim up and move down, the sword will strike down. I hate this. There's enough going on, I shouldn't need to also worry about lining myself up perfectly for a sword strike. This would be easier on controller, but sucks on PC. But there is a setting in the menu to make the sword swing follow your aim instead. I wish I'd known about that before I beat the game. Sword follows aim should be the default setting. But it's one of the few problems I have with the game, and it already has a solution. The sword is also used to counter one specific enemy, and you can turn that counter into a slow-mo thing if you have sword charge, I think. And also you can do executions to some enemies with a sword if they get into a weakened state. They go into a weakened state when you hit their weak points. Heavy weapons, extremely high damage but limited ammo. It ties into the Wrath system. So blood gems can either be used by walking over them, which goes into kill power. Kill power increases pistol damage and movement speed, but pressing shift makes you suck up those blood gems into your Wrath meter. If you have a full Wrath meter, you get to do a massive attack that gives you health gems. So it's your way to heal all that damage you are definitely going to take. Also, if you shoot Wrath at enemies with purple armor, they explode, which kills a lot of enemies. I think this is it for the game mechanics TED Talk. I might be forgetting something like the sword charge ultimate move. I completely forgot about it while playing. I was at the final 2 levels when I finally remembered it and only used it once or twice. These mechanics are a lot for such a small game. I was shocked when I saw the list of tutorials for the first time. Why does this small arcade game have spaceship flying simulator game level tutorials? That depth ended up being what I like about the game. These mechanics give you options and micro choices in dealing with combat encounters, and makes the game much more interesting and engaging. Progression. Basically your equipment. The weapons are all very different from each other. I'll pick 3 from each group. The first pistols are like 2 SMGs. They shoot fast. The second are revolvers that pierce through enemies. The active triggers are the same for these, just a stronger attack. But the fourth are shotguns, and when you active trigger on them, you shoot everyone around you. Heavy weapon. First is a shotgun that wipes everyone away, and the ultimate is a big kill ball. Second is a bazooka, where the ultimate is a mortar all around you. Third is an assault rifle, ultimate shoots out missiles that hunt enemies down. Swords. First one is pretty basic. A high damage sword slash with an active trigger with a much wider slash. Second sword is a katana with a 3-hit combo, and the active trigger is a spin to win where you slash around you. The cool thing about the katana is that it can make bullets go away by slashing them, so it's defensive and offensive at the same time. The third one is the Guts sword, a huge sword slash that can make you very vulnerable, so you gotta use it carefully. Armor. It has dashes, dash recovery and protection. If you want more protection, then you will be sacrificing dashes, and some will have traits like dashing into enemies does damage. Trinkets. It's all about traits, like getting more heavy ammo from sword kills or just more dashes. How you unlock new equipment is either through buying it or doing challenges. The challenges are varied both in difficulty and what you actually do. Let's take the one I cheesed as an example. It was for a new pistol. It said finish a level without a reduction in kill power. I beat that by never raising my kill power, so I made sure to never walk over blood gems. Can't reduce kill power if you never had any to begin with. Then there's stuff like collect 200 health shards in a single level, or counter an enemy while at a 500 kill streak in a single level. So depending on your equipment, your gameplay style can change a lot. It's great variety, and I was always looking forward to new equipment because it's such a breath of fresh air. Gameplay. The game has variety in enemies and playstyle. Its gameplay mechanics are deep and the gameplay itself is very smooth. Except the few corners I got stuck on. I loved the sound work. The soundtrack is good and the sound effects sound good, and you can easily distinguish between them, so you don't have to rely only on visual cues for stuff that happens. Like the active trigger, the bar will be the same every time. So if you get the timing down for it, then you can get it right every time just off the audio cue. Same goes for the visuals and aesthetics. It's honestly very impressive how easy it is to navigate levels and understand what's going on the screen when everything is red with a grey backdrop. Your bullets, red cylinders. Enemy bullets, red balls. Just have different shapes. So simple yet so effective. And they also give you a small satisfaction from killing enemies. It's punchy and you see the impact of your bullets and you get a small animation when they die, but it's short and sweet so that it isn't distracting while you're keeping track of everything else. It will be harder later in the game to keep track of everything. The game starts with a lot going on and only ramps that up. There will be 30 enemies on screen and 5 of them will be different types that each do a different attack. And you'll be making micro decisions in your head like dash now or save it. Oh, reload. Which active trigger do I want? Use heavy weapon now or save it for later. While you're thinking about all this nonsense, you're also trying to navigate a bullet hell level with lots of enemies, traps and lasers. The game is hard. I only beat it on the easiest difficulty. I was getting my ass packaged and shipped across seas on the second difficulty, so I switched it down. Just to be able to breathe. And even then it was still hard, but that gives you such a high when you finally win. When you pick your right build and memorize the level enough and become better, so that you finally beat the level and finally the game. Before I go into conclusion, I want to talk about the final boss, because that was just sadistic. Skip it if you don't want to get spoiled. And I recommend not getting spoiled on that, because I experienced the boss by him catching me with my pants down, laughing at my penis and then castrating me. And I think that's the best experience. The boss. Let's start with a collection of thoughts I had when I fought the boss. This is tough, but fair. Chaotic bullet hell, but I can deal with it. Oh, okay. At least I get a checkpoint. Yeah, just multiply everything you did before by 5. That's nice. Why? What am I supposed to be able to do? The beam laser from the pillars is just bullshit. I somehow dodged it like once or twice, but every time I try to repeat that, I fail. It just hit scans me perfectly every time. Finally kill boss, but actually he keeps going. But now you get little guys too, and one of them killed me immediately. The boss has a lot going on and I lost track of my cursor, but you can make the cursor high contrast so you can see it better. That's great. The final boss phase is actually the easiest. The boss attacks are really predictable and you can get health and heavy ammo from the little guys. You just gotta keep the little guy population down and shoot the boss with heavy ammo occasionally and then you win. The boss is the part that mentally ruined me. It was like I was stuck in a loop of spawn die, and getting frustrated with how hard this boss pushes you, with some moves that just felt like unavoidable damage. And I kept going out of spite. I'm at the end, I'm not giving up because of this asshole. I went into the boss with a pretty shitty loadout, basically the wrong heavy weapon, and it took me about 30 minutes to beat him. It was really hard, but becomes easier once you lock in, change the mouse to high contrast and get a few of his moves down. It's a good boss, but that laser beam from the pillars could be more fair. It's the one thing that I was like, okay, I just can't work with this. Hard boss fight that's satisfying to beat once you learn and get good. Wow, it's like Dark Souls. Conclusion. This video was supposed to be like 10 minutes, but the more I thought about it, the more I liked the mechanics, and thought they deserved being talked about. Hard games only work when they're mechanically really good. Like when the game was beating my ass, I never stopped playing and I would die and just immediately hit restart level. Because the game is fun to play and the mechanics are really good. But at the same time I was getting pissed off. I was getting baffled at levels. How was I supposed to win with all the shit coming at me? The obvious answer: get good. And that depressed me as I retried the levels again and again and again. And I would start thinking, I'm almost 30. Maybe I'm getting too old to get good. Maybe I'm losing my gamer ability. And then I would finally beat that level. The onset dementia, back and knee pains would go away and I would feel so good. Low lows and high highs. This cycle would repeat until I beat the game. And then I emerged from my computer room, breathed a sigh of relief and said, I just beat a hard game. And my girlfriend responds, nice job, sweetie, blissfully unaware of the emotional turmoil I had been going through. I recommend the game. It's really challenging and the mechanics are silky smooth. It's $15 and took me 6 hours to beat. And only on the easiest difficulty. What do you want from me? I make game reviews. I'm practically a games journalist. So I can only beat games on big baby mode now. I give the game how playing Kill Knight made me appreciate my polycule out of the Dark Souls of stylized bullet hell top-down isometric twin-stick shooter arcade games. I was in exams in university and that's why this video is coming out like a month and a half after I started working on it. Also, I started reviewing a game that might have tanked my grades in exams and possibly ruined my life. Like and subscribe for that. Call me Uncle Brian and have an awesome day.